Mic on?
Yep. Alright.
Alright. Intense, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's some serious setup.
And ready. Hey monkeys, how you doing? Damien Keys here, and welcome to the hashtag Ask Damo show number 33. Nice!
Yeah!
Straight in there. Getting the hang of this. With me as always is Melissa.
It's taken 33 shows.
I know, yeah, it's taken a while, hasn't it? How are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Very good, liking our new desks.
Yeah, we've got new desks.
We have more space. One thing that people, whenever they come in this office, they always look at this wall and they go, is that where you do the show?
Yeah.
And I say, yeah. And they say, oh, it looks very different. And I'm like, yeah, it's crammed, isn't
It's
it?
really small.
So we have loads of room, so I like that. So we have questions?
Yes, we do.
We have no merchandise.
We have no merchandise.
Do you know, this week has been a record-breaking week for people, for guys messaging me, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook's gone crazy. And I keep saying, yeah. The question is just, the one question is always there, is promoting music. And I'm just like, number one, send me the music.
Yeah.
That's just the first thing.
Yeah.
Is you're always like, how do we get people to listen to the music? And I'm like, I will do that. Like, just send it to me.
Yeah.
It's really hard. But we have
next
questions.
Week, fingers crossed.
Well, let's hope so. Let's have some t-shirts and some merch. I mean, we've got space. Like, that's the problem. So yeah, cool.
Alright, so question number 1 from Jake. Says, loving your new EP series, it's very helpful. You use the word momentum a lot. Could you give a few ideas on how to gain momentum for my band and the album coming up?
Yes, I love the word momentum because if I look back at my career, the one thing that I can do is create momentum. I don't feel like I have original ideas. I think the one thing I've got is work ethic and building momentum, and that's whipping up a bit of a storm, whipping up a buzz and getting people excited, and then things start to happen. And it's the way I'd explain it, and when we were setting up BIM, the way I used to explain it is, the first year was like you were pushing this rock up a hill, and every day you're like, it's not going anywhere, but you're just trying, and it's not getting anywhere, and then the hill all of a sudden starts to level out, and all of a sudden it becomes a bit easier, and then you get to the top of the hill, and you're like, oh, I can move it, and then all of a sudden you start going down the hill, and all of a sudden it starts rolling, and you're legging it after it because it's gone completely out of control, and it's going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and you're just chasing it, and that's the kind of, that's what you need for momentum. So you're trying to kind of almost kickstart momentum. You're trying to force it. So you're trying to actually do things that will actually get people talking, that will excite people, that will make people who are already inquisitive want to actually just take part, or just take note, or just watch and say, oh, that's quite interesting, I'm quite interested, tell me more about this. That's the bit that you're trying to do. And so how do you actually build momentum? Well, it is stuff. So let's talk about deals. And I am a big fan of deals, and I don't think bands do deals, and I don't think bands do anywhere near enough deals. But the time to do deals for me is 6 in the evening until 12 at night. And deals is very, very simple. A deal is basically just a deal between two people, a deal between a person and a company. But when you're talking to people and you're saying, if you do this, then I will do this, and getting lots of people saying no, but every so often someone will say yes. So for example, a very, very simple deal for me might be, I will, right now, throw it out there, I will pay for your band's rehearsal if you make a vlog featuring me. There you go. So somebody, like 9 out of 10 people will watch this and go, oh, I don't do vlog, can't be asked. But someone will go, I'll do a vlog, and it'll be like a featuring, just a vlog about what Damien does and how it works, and I'll put it on my YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. And I'll say, right now, I'll pay for your next band rehearsal if you do that. Just something like that. There's an idea. It could be an offer, it could be a competition, or it could be me saying, do you know what, I tell you what, you've got a gig tonight in Brighton. By the time they see this, it will have gone. But there's loads of deals that you could do with your gig, not just to get people there, but it could be sponsorship deals. It could be that you phone up a small local Brighton company, and you just say, look, we're gigging a lot, so I want to do a deal. I want to get a new backline, for example. It's going to cost £1,000, £2,000. I'm looking for a company to actually pay for that backline, or possibly to rent it for £100. I want a better backline. I need the money, but for that, what I'm prepared to do is this. And the reason why I'm not giving too many examples is because it could be anything. Like there's a million ideas, and this is how you get momentum. You start going through your address book, through your phone book, and actually going, that's a person that could potentially do something, because anyone's an influencer, because anyone's got an Instagram, anyone's got a Facebook, but also because people will work for different companies, people will work in different industries, people have got different skill sets. All you're trying to do is recognize stuff and go, I can help you if you help me. And it's this old school bartering trade system, which I don't think we see bands doing enough. And there's so many great things. There's so many opportunities. This show being one of those things. I'm literally telling you, if you send me a t-shirt, which I know there are literally thousands of you with t-shirts under the bed. Like, it's not like you go, oh, we've go and make t-shirts to send them to Damien. No, I know that's not the case, because I know that people have gone, let's buy 200 t-shirts, and then they've got the extra large ones left. Even if you haven't got small, send it, because we've got a box right there with about 10 t-shirts left over for the ones that we can't get rid of because they're extra large or whatever it is. Like, I know that they're there. I know that they're under the bed. Send them in, because it's just an extra bit of promotion. It's just an extra opportunity, and it's an extra little deal that you can get done, and a little bit of momentum that you can get, just because you just don't know. You might have an amazing piece of art that happens to come when I just look at it and go, that's really, have you seen this? And then I'll take a picture and I'll put it on my Instagram of me wearing the t-shirt, and it only takes someone else then to see, who's that band? That's a good design. And then go and check out your stuff. And it's these tiny opportunities that if you're not taking the opportunities, then you're stuck. You're just doing the same thing day in, day out. So I'm a big fan of opportunities, and I'm a big fan of doing deals. Forcing the opportunity by doing a deal. And the deal can be with anyone for anything. It just has to be two people saying, if you do this, I will do this. Is that going to work out? And be prepared for a lot of people to go, I can't be bothered. But it only takes one person to say yes, and you've done a deal, and it's worked.
It's essentially collaboration, really, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And it's in business, because, I talk about this a lot, but when you're a band, you are a business, whether you like it or not. Unless you are just making music to put on your computer, if you want someone else to listen to it, then you are creating something for someone else. It's a product. So therefore, you've got to have these business skills. And deals should be done more. I'm a big fan. Rather than just saying, if you do this, I will pay you money. Well, most of the guys watching this, most people don't have the money to do that. But they have got skills. They have got influence. They have got a decent sized Facebook audience who believe in them. There's loads of things that they can do. And it's finding a level. If you go in and say, we want £10,000 and then we will put an advert on our Instagram to 400 people, well, the deal's just like this. So your job is to actually find the point where you just go, that's a good deal for both. We're both or even, as the Gary Vaynerchuk puts it, lose a bit on the deal. But either way, get a deal that goes, that works for both of us. Why don't we make this work? And then you could do that every day. And I think when you finish work, 6 o'clock in the evening until 11 o'clock at night, you could just sit there doing deals. Just talking to people, building the community and building deals and getting the name out there by doing small deals.
Nice one. Okay, so question 2.
Cool.
This is from Ella. Says, as a songwriter, you spend a lot of time working in your own company, and it's very easy to be harsh to yourself and say you're not good enough. This song isn't good as it could be, etc., etc. What's your advice to keep motivated and be more fairly critical of your own work?
Okay, so this is Ella Stephen. So I know Ella because I've talked to her quite a few times. We did a Skype. She is a country singer in a duo, and firstly, I mean, this is because there's lots of questions that come through where I don't actually know the artist, I don't know the band, but I'm aware of Ella's stuff. So firstly, I would say it's a good question, because in her case, I mean, she's amazing. So there's no doubt in my mind that she's good enough in this instance. But from a question for other people who are thinking the same thing, I mean, I think a lot of musicians will have these doubts in their head because they're putting stuff out there saying, am I good enough? I have the same thing. Everybody does. Everyone has the same thing. I'm constantly looking at what I'm doing and I'm thinking, why is my why is my YouTube channel not blowing up? I made 250 videos. Why am I not PewDiePie? You know, and I have to check myself, and I have to say, well, hang on a minute. I'm aiming to a different demographic, but also maybe what I'm doing isn't right. Maybe I'm trying to do something. I need to tweak it. I need to experiment. For me, what I would do is I would constantly be looking at the audience feedback, the engagement, and actually looking at the stats. Because I think if you're looking at the stats behind what you're doing, you can start to get a picture of whether people like it, and asking people as well, asking people what they think, going and finding people who are outside your very, very close friends and family who will tell you what you want to hear. But I think, you know, when you are working in your own company, it becomes very insular, and you are almost trapped by your own standards, as it were. So you're comparing yourself to massive artists, and then thinking, well, why is my stuff not taking off as well as their stuff? And so it's all about, for me, the 1% rule. Every single day with my content, with my business, I am not trying to jump to X Factor standards. I'm not trying to go, nobody knows who I am, everybody knows who I am, I made one video. That might happen. I might make a video tomorrow, and all of a sudden I might touch a nerve with musicians who just feel that they have to share it, who share it and share it and share it, and I might just grab another 50,000 subscribers. But I'm not going to let that be my drive. My drive is 1%, and it's not just 1% with the stats and the numbers, it's 1% with the product that I'm doing. Every single day I ask myself one question, which is, what can I do today that makes this business or this social media product, what can I do today that makes it just 1% better? Just 1%, even 0.5%, just something that you go, that is now better than it was. Whether it's me, and it could be, and this is the best thing, it could be anything. It could be looking at what I'm wearing and going, God, I'm scruffy, because I am scruffy. And it could be like when we got the microphones, and we just had lots of people going, get Melissa on microphone, because she coughs a lot. And so we were like, oh, how do we do that? And so we're constantly looking at ways that we can just improve something like 1%. So when it comes to bands, here's one thing I would definitely do is every time I do a show, I always want to debrief afterwards. And I always want, whether it's a manager or someone I trust in the audience, so that I'm remembering stuff at the show and I'm thinking, right, next time I want to change these little bits, to experiment, to try and make something 1% better. Now the reason for this is because it's only 1%. It's a tiny incremental increase in what you're doing. However, you do that for a month and you're 30% better. 30% in next month. Like between now and effectively the beginning of February-ish, you could be 30% better. And that is completely feasible. That's feasible for me with my product, with me with my business, with you, with your band. You can be looking at it, you can just go through everything and say, what is it that I can improve? And you go, well, the pictures aren't good enough, or the demos just aren't good enough quality. So you're working towards all of these different things, and you're writing them in a calendar so you can actually see what is doing this. And you get better and better. And if you're doing that, then, and this is where the answer to the question lies, if you're doing that, I would look at the stats. And as long as things are increasing and improving, and you're getting good engagement from people, and you're allowing people to comment on your stuff, and you're building a community, and you're getting their advice, then I think you'll find that it's allowing the audience to tell you that you're doing the right thing. And if the audience isn't, then you do need to improve. You know, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to improve and be better. But I have an issue, and this is where you get kind of, you know, especially with musicians and creatives, depression and mental health issues, where they're trying to jump too far. They're putting too much pressure on themselves, and then because of that, it's getting them down, and it becomes a spiral. We talk about momentum, and it's a backward spiral, and we don't want that. What we want is positive steps every single day. My New Year's resolution, which I am still doing, by the way, is every single day I've got a little journal, and every single day I write down 3 things that I'm just appreciative of. And yesterday, one of those things was eggs. Because I'm appreciative of eggs. It doesn't have to be,
I'm not expecting you to say that.
I'm appreciative of my family. And I'm appreciative. It doesn't have to be that. I just want 3 things that just triggers a bit of positivity in my life that I just go, God, that's really good. And yesterday, I didn't have eggs. And I got to the end of the day, because I have Crohn's and eggs are really helpful. And I was like, didn't have eggs. Don't feel very good. Damn it. And I was like, I appreciate eggs. Eggs are a good thing. Eggs are a damn good thing. But if you're vegan, not. No, not really.
I think you're right in terms of like kind of writing stuff down as well, because literally just being on a songwriter's course, everyone has this problem of like being like your own worst enemy at times. And I think, like the idea of writing stuff down and writing how far you've come, even if it's just little steps each day, can be so rewarding.
Which is a good point, because if you look at the journey of artists, they're constantly looking forward. They're constantly looking at what's next. I'm very guilty of this myself. Very rarely do I stop, stick my head up and go, wow, look how far we've come. Every so often someone will say something on social media. Someone came through the other day and just said, wow, I was one of the first 100 subscribers and now you're on 20 or 1,000. And I was like, wow, I didn't, that wasn't very long ago, but that wouldn't have occurred to me until someone pointed stuff out. And I feel like what we do is better. I feel like we're creating content which is more helpful to musicians and for bands. We've got a better platform. We're building a community. We've got some amazing things coming up, potentially with some prizes which are off the chart, like off the chart that can really help. Next level. And I'm thinking, this is amazing, but I very rarely would I think that. I'm just like, what's tomorrow? What's the next day? So it's easy to get caught up in that. So to actually write stuff down and actually be able to look back and actually look at the figures, look at the stats and think, this is moving in the right direction. And if it's not, is at that point you just say, right, it isn't moving in the right direction. Because some of my stuff isn't. My Instagram I struggle with. And I have this love and hate thing where I want it to be really good, but I can't be asked to put the work in because I just don't like Instagram. It's just my personal thing. And then I go, no, I'm going to do it. And then I start working on it and go, oh, I don't care. It's not I like Facebook and I like YouTube, so it's just my thing. And so if I don't care about it, then why would anyone else care about it?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, question 3.
But Ella, you're amazing. So you don't have to worry about it.
So this is from Naveed. He says, "Hey Damo, outside of asking friends to come and playing constantly, what have you had the most success with for building up fan bases, numbers at gigs?"
Okay. Yeah. So.
It's also put, let's talk fighters and how they start promos.
So
fighters. Yeah.
Good. Okay. So we were chatting about. I was chatting about this with Mark the other day in the office. We were talking about UFC fighters and boxers and how they start a fight, how they promote a fight, like straight off. So what happens is if anyone watches boxers or fighters, as soon as they've had a fight, as soon as they've won, at that moment they want to start promoting the next fight, because that's what it's all about. Because it's all about getting people to gigs. Yeah. It's all about getting people to the show, to watch the pay-per-view, to do all those things. Like fighters and boxers are like the ultimate in promoting people to actually get people into your show. And I think there's a lot to learn about from the fighting industry. Whether you like boxing, whether you think it's barbaric, it doesn't matter. I'm not talking about actually watching boxing, but I'm talking about the methods that they use in order to get people interested in their show. They've got a bunch of tried and tested techniques, and you'll notice if you do watch stuff like the UFC, you'll notice that some of the champions who just keep winning, they don't get paid anywhere near as much as some of the people who lose sometimes. And it's not because it's about winning or losing, it's about how many people they can get to their gig, how many people they can get to turn on the TV and watch their show. And there's some parallels that we should be able to pick up from the fight game and put it in the music game. And it's how soon they start promoting their fight, how intense do they promote their fight, and once they finish that fight, literally the Joe Rogan or whoever else will walk up to them and go, "Oh my God, it's amazing! You just smashed the guy in the face and he fell over. It's amazing. How do you feel?" Puts the mic in their face. Instantly, they're just like, "Next fight," because I've got to get the next fight, because that's where the next payday comes. And they're like, I want you. And it's like, oh, there's beef. Straight away there's some beef. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm interested. Because again, going back to the last point, if like when it comes to what we do, if I don't care about something I do, why would you care about it? Like, if I don't give a shit, you're not going to give a shit. So, but when I care, then I think other people are going to care. And it's the same thing. If in the fight game, if someone says, who do you want to fight next? And they go, oh, whatever. Just put someone in front of me and I'll knock them down, which a lot of fighters do. Then you go, oh, okay, yeah, he'll fight anybody. Brilliant. But there's no beef. You're not there going like, oh my God, can you imagine? And when someone goes, no man, Conor McGregor, I'm coming for you. You're like, ooh, there's beef. And so there's just this amazing parallels that boxers and fighters are really able to build excitement. And musicians don't. They just go, nah, if you want to come to the show, come to the show. If you don't. The amount of, for some reason it's really prevalent on Snapchat, but the amount of Snapchats that I get through saying, if you're not doing anything tonight, come to my gig. Like, how lazy. If you're not doing anything tonight, as in I actually forgot to tell you or couldn't be bothered to tell you up until 12 hours before I'm about to go on stage, but if you happen to just not be doing anything at all and can't be arsed with your life, come and see me play. Like, it doesn't make me go, I can't wait, I'm gonna come down, we're gonna smash this. It's just, as soon as it pops up, I'm like, I'm really sorry, but you haven't excited me into wanting to come in your show. I want someone to excite me.
It's like the psychology of it, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
I want someone to be like, if you miss this show, you are going to be sorry. And I'll tell you why, because at this show, everyone's going to be there. These people are going to be there, and that's social proofing, and that's social currency and social standing. That is social currency and social standing. If all my mates are going to be there and I'm not going to be there, who's the loser? Yeah. I'm the loser. Sure, and so a fear of missing out, So in order to actually get people to your gig, you've got to create, again, going back to momentum, you've got to create this buzz. You've got to make excitement. And it can't just be, we've got a gig. It's a statement that just isn't enough. We've got a gig. Well, for most people in the world who are between the age of 18 and 23, we'll get one of them a week. Because all our mates are in some kind of band or in some kind of project or some kind of DJ or going on some kind of event or some kind of night out or some kind of birthday. So if it's going to be your thing that I come to, how are you going to build the excitement? And I think people should be looking at the fighters and how they promote the UFC and boxing and how they actually start making it exciting. Because what they're doing is they're telling a story. I'm creating something, for example, in the fight game, I'm creating the beef. I'm also telling people what's going to happen. When I get in there, I'm going to pound you. I'm going to pick you up, throw you down, smash you in the face. It's going to hurt. It's going to be pain. And you're like, oh, I want to see that. We're creating the vision of the event. When you come to my gig, we've got this new track. It just kicks the shit out of anything we've ever done. Yeah. The riff on it is huge. Like, you've got to hear it. I want you to hear it, but I'm not going to play it to you until the gig, because that's when we're going to play the new song, and I'm so excited, and you've got to calm down. That's brilliant. I don't hear that.
At that pitch.
Yeah. I don't hear that. What I hear is bands going, can I come to a gig? And I'm like, not now. Because if you're not interested, why am I going to be interested? So how are you going to promote it? Well, effort, energy, excitement. And so when it comes to this question, which is, how have you had the most success? Well, the most success is actually just hard work and actually putting a few things into a gig, into an event that's exciting. So here's something. Here's a scoop.
Okay.
Here's a scoop that nobody knows. So anyone who's got to this part of the Ask Damo show is going to find a scoop. I am going to put on a gig, a regular gig slot. You have like BBC introducing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do a Damo introducing or a DK introducing. And it's going to be, we're going to get a venue in Brighton and I'm going to put on 4 bands from around the country. So this is not a localized thing. However, there will be local bands because obviously there's going to be part of the local community. But this is about building a community. So if I'm going to take a band from Manchester who get to come and play, if I take a band from Norwich who come and play, and a band from Bristol and a band from Brighton, for example, 4 bands. Everybody who is actually watching this bit now is going, I want to do that. A gig in Brighton where I don't want to make any money, don't care about that. Whatever money we make, we'll just give to the bands, because this is not about that. So the bands can hopefully be able to pay for their trip down. We'll Then it comes to how am I going to get people there? Well, check this out. It's about community. So if the bands want to play, they have to get involved in the community, because that's what this is. So therefore, they have to help promote the gig even when they're not on the gig. I want bands to actually come to this show so that they can show support and we can actually chat about stuff, and they can be a part of it in order for them to play the next one or the one after it. You look after me, I look after you, going back to the deals. Then I'm like, what else can we do? Okay, I tell you what, we'll have all our guys who film stuff. Everyone's going to be there, and we're going to film the entire show, and we're going to edit up so the band will actually get a really amazing live gig video for themselves for free. They can have it. Why not? Fuck it, we're just going to do that. Brilliant. What else are we going to do? In between the band setups, I'll do a bit of just a couple of bits of talk and a few ideas for bands to actually get onto. We'll do loads of social media. We might even have a little projector screen with a Twitter handle so you can actually feature your band on it in front of the whole audience. All of a sudden, creativity and thinking of ways that we can actually look after our audience, and all of a sudden I know people are watching going, oh my God, that sounds cool. I want to do that. I want to be a part of it. So if I can do that, if I can put on a gig and I can excite people and I'm not even playing, imagine what you can do when you're actually playing. All the exciting things that you can do and how you can talk about it like this, where you're excited about it. Because I have to say, I'm really excited about it. Because I get to actually hang around with bands, watch them play, help bands, get bands from different parts of the UK, create a community. They can help build this community. The whole thing to me just works as something which is very exciting. The way I'm even talking about it is I'm excited about it. If you're not excited about it, no one else is going to be.
Yeah, so I think installing that kind of faith in your audience is
absolutely
going to be good.
Yeah.
Alright, so final question is from David. He says, hey Damo, big fan of your channel, learned a great deal in the time I've been following the page.
Thanks, dude. That's lovely.
Sorry if you've previously covered this one, but wondering if you have any advice on musicians and artists, either as band or session players setting up as self-employed. I know that technically any musician should be set up self-employed when it comes to payments from gigs, etc. But what level should this be considered and how do people go about it?
Okay, so this is a very good question because it's not something we talk about. We talk about bands, we talk about promotion, we talk about distribution, but what about technicalities?
Yeah.
What about you've just left college or you're in college and you've got the dreaded self-employed tax issues and the dreaded self. How do you set up so that you're making money and you're not going to get diddled by the tax man? And you know that what you're doing is the right thing. Yeah. And it is simpler than you think. Yeah. Because everyone has that.
You should do a video on this as well.
Yeah, because everyone has the fear. Everyone has that like, self-employed tax. Yeah. And I'm not going to go into the details of tax, but I am going to go into some very, very simple logistics. And this is for the UK viewers. And I know there's going to be people outside of the UK and other parts of the world. And unfortunately, I can't help because it'll be a similar thing, but I can't help with the logistics because I don't live there and I don't know. But the first thing and the most important thing is you have to tell HMRC that you are going self-employed. That's the thing. And you just go on to, I think it's gov.org or the government site, and just put in that I want to tell HMRC that I'm going self-employed, and the form will pop up. You fill in a form, you send it in, and all it is effectively is it's saying that you are going to sort your own tax yourself through self-assessment. That's the key. And self-assessment is basically just saying, I will do my own tax. Yeah. So all it is, really, really simple, is the government just wants to know, in a nutshell, that you're sorting your tax. Because the government says, everyone pays tax. Yeah. That's the way it is. So where's your tax coming from? As long as you have a tick which just goes, don't worry, I'll sort it myself. That's the big thing. Once you've done that, because the other part of it's national insurance as well, and national insurance is contributions towards your pension. If you don't pay national insurance, when you get old, you won't get a pension, and then you'll die horribly. Or something. I don't know if that's the case. So yeah, I hope. So you have to pay your national insurance and your tax. That's the big step. That's the big complicated thing that everyone's terrified of. Now, when it comes to doing the tax, all you have to do is find a way of logging money in and logging money out. Yeah. That's as simple as that. As long as you can say, this is how much money I've made and this is how much money I've spent on things which are relevant to my career. So, for example, if we go for a meeting after this, and I'll just say, I'll grab some teas, do you want some teas? And I keep the receipt for that. The reason why I can then put that against tax, which basically means I'm spending this money which is helping my career. It's part of my career is because it's important and I need to look after you, so I'm getting you a cup of tea and I can write that off against tax, which means if the 2 teas cost £5, then you can say, when it comes to your tax, once you've used your allocated allowance, which is, I think in this country is 11.5 grand, I think. Once you've used that, the money that you have to pay tax on will decrease, because if you have to buy a haircut for 30 quid, you pay a little bit less tax because you're writing that bit off against tax. Now, the reason why this is important, and that's in a nutshell, but the reason why this is important is because as a musician or as a self-employed person, there's so many things that you need to do which are actually eligible for tax. The way you look, your haircut, rehearsals, gear, a part of the education, if you get in guitar lessons, there's so many things that you can write off against tax. Petrol, where you live, your phone, your computer. If you buy a new computer because your computer's died, it's like, well, yeah, you need that. You have to have that. So the government says that's okay. In that case, you can write that off against tax. So this is part one, technicalities. I'll get to the next bit, which is my thoughts on advice. But the first bit is very, very simple. Number one, you just have to tell the government that you are going to be doing your own tax, that you are self-employed. Number two, you just have to find a way of actually logging money in, logging money out. Whether you get a separate bank account, and so money comes in and money goes out. So what a lot of musicians do is they have a separate bank account which money comes into, then they'll have a credit card, and the credit card is for outgoings, so they can actually see per month all of the things that they've spent on their living expenses as a musician, which count. And it's very simple to log in and out. Excuse me. Now, if you remember the olden days, which most of you probably won't, but people say, you've got to keep your receipts. Keep your receipt, keep your receipt, keep your receipts. Now, there's loads of musicians watching that go, yeah, keep your receipts, keep your receipts. We don't keep our receipts. We do keep our receipts. We put the receipts in our wallet, and then after 3 months, we've just got a stack of papers that when we pull them out, all the ink's gone, and we go, oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Or we put them in a box, and the box gets loads and loads of receipts, but then we lose the box, and then we've lost the receipts, and we go, I did have some receipts, but I can't find the receipts that I had. Worry not, because technology has come to our aid. What I use is an app, which is called Receipt Bank.
What about the app?
It's really, really good. I'm not getting paid for this. This is not a sponsored advert. I use Receipt Bank.
We love this app.
It's brilliant. It's very simple. I get out my phone every time I get a meal or anything that can actually be tax deductible. Yeah. I put the receipt on the table. I take a picture of it. I submit it. It's literally that easy. It's just a habit form. Someone says, "Do you want a receipt?" Yes, please. Receipt for petrol. Thank you very much. Bonk. Done. And it just receipts it, and that goes through to, in my case, it goes through to our accountants, but you might have to sort that yourself. But it's a good way to look into if you can get receipt back. It's very, very good. Now then, advice. Setting yourself up in self-employed, those are the technicalities. But here are my bits of advice for setting yourself up as self-employed. First thing, if you are going self-employed, this does not give you the opportunity to arse around, stay in bed until 12 o'clock and just go, yeah, man, I'm self-employed, I work for myself. No. When you are self-employed, you are effectively running your own business. If you run your own business, then yes, I get more freedom in certain aspects than anybody else because I get to run my own business. If I want to go and work from America, I can work from America. However, I also get less freedom than everyone else because I am in charge of everything at all times. So therefore, the buck stops with me. Other people can make mistakes, but I'm the one, the responsibility will ultimately always fall with. If you're going self-employed, you are jumping onto that bandwagon. My best bit of advice is set yourself up like you are going into your own business, which means you still start work at 9 o'clock or 8:30 and you clock off at 5 o'clock. And just because you work for yourself doesn't give you any, for me, it doesn't give you any right to just arse around and not do it. This is about building something awesome. So my advice is, for me personally, is treat it like a proper business. Go into this and thinking, I'm going to put the work in because this now gives me time. That's the one thing self-employed gives you, because how much time is wasted in every office where people are chatting or making tea or, it's not useful time. Yes, you're there for 8 or 9 hours a day, but are you actually doing it? Or doing stuff at all hours of the day? No, really. Not very protective. So set yourself up. You have time and then you can actually work on your career. So that is a big one. Secondly, I would look for quick wins, because this is now about your livelihood, making money. So firstly, quick wins with money. So figuring out how you can get paid small amounts. And you're always going to get paid as much as you can get paid, but you need confidence that you can do this, because what you don't want to do is get 6 months down the line and it goes horribly wrong, and then you never want to do it again. So for me, quick wins. So if I was going self-employed, I'd start looking for people that would pay me 20, 30 quid just to do little things, so that I know that I can actually make money from doing this. So quick wins is quite important. The other bit of advice is don't fiddle the tax man. Because there's no need, because as musicians you're not going to make £50 million a year probably. So just keep it really simple, and that's what self-employed is all about, keeping it as simple as you can. You make this much money, you spend this much money, you have to pay a certain amount of tax. It's very hard to say this to musicians because they don't do this, even though they're full of good intentions, but put money away every month. Because if you're making a certain amount of money, there's nothing worse than getting to your tax bill and they say, cool, your tax bill's £3,000, and you say, I don't have that. So and the tax man doesn't mess around. So when I sold BIM, I don't know if I should say this on camera, but when I sold BIM, I was hit with a tax bill of 120 grand, and there was no like putting it off. It was like, we want it now, and I was like, I don't know. I don't have it. I have to remortgage my house. I was going to get it from selling a business, but I was just like, well, what?
Yeah, it shows how serious.
So you can't mess the tax man around. He don't have a sense of humour. So that's the thing. So I would say, set yourself targets, set yourself goals of what you want to achieve, but treat it like a business. That's my best advice. But from a technicality point of view, just tell the government what you're doing. They'll say, yep, no problem at all. And then you just pay your tax once a year. And your only job then is just to figure out the simplest way for money coming in, money going out. It literally can be as simple as that. And musicians want it to be more complicated. It isn't. It's really simple.
That's kind of quite comforting, really.
Honestly, it's not that bad.
You just don't really get taught anywhere.
Absolutely. And the reason is because there's some kind of weird black magic. It's really scary. It's like, no, it's not. It's not at all. It's just very simply, the government just wants to know how much you owe, because everyone has to pay tax, and you get the first £11,500 where you don't have to pay tax on it. So you can earn £11,500 in the UK, I think, without having to pay any tax, and then after that, I think it's like 20% or 22% or something that you're paying on money. After that, up to a certain amount of money, 42 grand or something like that. So if you make £20,000 as a musician, you're only paying tax on 9. Not 8.5, because the first 11.5 you get tax free, and then out of that 8.5, if you've spent £5,000 on stuff which is important because you needed a new phone, or you needed a computer, or you needed to get your hair cut, then out of that 5, that gets taken off. So you're only paying tax then on the 3.5 to 4, and if you're paying tax on 3.5 to 4, it's 20%. You're paying 500 quid or something. So it's not crazy amounts of money if you do this properly.
Okay, cool.
Don't be scared.
All our questions.
Good. That was really good. I really enjoyed that one today.
Yeah, it was good questions.
Good. Right, busy day today, lots to do. So your job is like and subscribe, obviously. If you've got any friends that you can tag into any of these questions or the show, that would be amazing. But more importantly, this is an opportunity for you to get featured. I will hold stuff up. I will talk about your band. I will wear your t-shirt. I will promote your band. But you have to actually send me the stuff, because I can't do it otherwise. So the address is in the description below. If you want to send some stuff in, send it in, get it featured on the show. If you've got music, we can even feature it on certain vlogs, but get it to us so we can actually help you.
Over.
Good.
Nice.
Happy?
Good. Yeah.
Good. See you guys next week.
Bye.